What is going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of Odds and Ends. Today, as the title suggests, we're going to work through our questions and answers from our 500 subscriber contest. Now, most of those questions I went ahead and answered. There were some questions that I didn't answer, and I put them on this list so I could use them in this video. So, guys, thank you again so much for supporting the channel. And yes, just get right into it. The first question comes from Game Glitch Guy G3, who, by the way, has an awesome channel. And before we start, a couple things. All the links to all the channels will be in the description. Some of them don't post YouTube videos, but I'm going to link them anyway. And I may have changed the wording in some of these questions. So if I didn't answer the exact question verbatim of the words that you wrote on the comment section, please forgive me. I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier. So Game Glitch Guy asks, what got you interested in making YouTube videos? And why did you start making videos? So, I guess like everybody else, you know, when you start watching retro video game people on the YouTubes, you sort of come up with like the same group of people, right? You come up with the AVGNs, the Pat the NES punks, the PewDiePies, the Irate Gamer, you know, some of those bigger channels. But as you sort of dig deeper into the YouTube catalog, the YouTube library, you find all these really awesome channels that are smaller channels. And Game Glitch Guy has a small channel, and he's got an awesome channel. And I would rather watch his videos than like James and Mike Monday or something, you know, because it's more interesting. Like Game Glitch was doing U-Force, like beating games using the U-Force. You don't see that a lot on the YouTubes. You know, he does Mortal Kombat runs and things like that. So, again, you have an awesome channel, and I love watching your channel. And that's what sort of got me interested in making videos. Why I started making videos was, you know, I don't really have Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or a MySpace or a Your Bathroom or, you know, Your Sister's Kitchen or anything like that. So this is really sort of my creative outlet. And I love retro games and things like that. So it was sort of a natural progression. So thanks for the question. It was an awesome one. Moving along to our next question. It comes from, I got my list, comes from Dexter Walters. Dexter asks, what are the best games to collect for the GameCube, and what are the best classic consoles to collect for? So I'll answer the second one first. Best classic consoles to collect for, I would say collect for whatever you want to collect for. You know, Nintendo is popular. If you're not a Nintendo person, then don't force it. You know, if you grew up with a Genesis and you love Genesis, then collect that. You know, I don't know what to say. I guess I would pick, I really enjoy collecting for the PlayStation 2. I don't know if you would consider that a classic console, but with the PlayStation 2, there's a ton of games. A lot of them are cheap. The PlayStation 2 has a great library of games that cross, you know, all the genres, so there's something really on that console for everybody. I guess classic, man, I don't know. Anything older, it's starting to get expensive. Even Nintendo 64 stuff is getting really expensive. Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo, always expensive, you know, if you're going to buy games. And there's a lot of shit. But I don't know, it's a tough one. If somebody else has an opinion on that, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. But I really enjoy collecting for the PlayStation 2 for the reasons I said. You know, a lot of cheap games, a lot of genres, easy availability, right? There's not a lot of ultra rare PlayStation 2 games, maybe like Rule of Rose or something, but you can get all your Crash games, all your Spyros, all your shoot 'em ups, all your RPGs relatively cheap. What are some of the best games to collect for the GameCube? I don't know. Let me grab a few. Alright, let's just get right to it, man. To answer your question as completely as possible, I've grabbed a selection of GameCube games, and let's talk about them real quick. After you get all your Marios and your Zeldas and your Star Foxes and your Sonics and all that other stuff that you're going to buy, the GameCube has a ton of super expensive titles that, you know, I guess if that's what you're into, totally spend the money, but there's a lot more great games on the GameCube that are value. You know, they have value to the price tag. So the first two here, you know, I'm not going to leave these off the list. the Mega Man Anniversary Collection and the Mega Man X Collection. Again, these games are great value for what they are. Mega Man Anniversary Collection, you're going to get the first 8 Mega Man games, and then you're also going to get Mega Man Power Battles and another game that was only released in Japan. So you're going to get 10 Mega Man games on this one disc, and this is usually like 20 or 30 bucks, so not bad there. The Mega Man X Collection, however, is a little bit more pricey. I was lucky I got this at buybacks for like 20 bucks, caught them slipping. But this game usually goes for like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 bucks. Just kind of depends on where you're buying it. It may seem pricey, but you do get the first 6 Mega Man X games. So really, for the cost of, say, Mega Man 2, which is about $80, $100 game, for the cost of Mega Man X2, you can have a whole compilation disc with all the Mega Man X games on it. Well, at least the first 6. So that's pretty awesome. There are some titles that you may know about that you need to get. The first one, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. This is an amazing game. It's almost like a survival horror action game. It's usually like 30 or 40 bucks, so it's relatively inexpensive. And for what you're getting, it's a really awesome game. Another game that's sort of in that boat, a $20 game, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Mutant Nightmare 3. Now, these Ninja Turtle games on the GameCube are amazing because they're like 4-player beat-em-ups. So it's almost like a party game. You can hang out with your friends, play some Ninja Turtles. There's some varied gameplay. So there's a beat-em-up, and then there's like a first-person, like shoot 'em, like bonus games. But the one that makes this game so special is that if you're a Super Nintendo fan and you can't afford Turtles in Time, you can actually unlock the arcade version of Turtles in Time. So for 20 bucks, again, amazing value. One thing that sort of gets overlooked on the GameCube is all of its, hidden gems. All the games that are really good games that maybe you never heard of. First one here is Blowout. This looks like an absolute budget title, and I'm not going to say it's not. You can get this game for under $5, but if you are a Metroidvania-style Metroid fan, then you'll probably like this game, because you're on this secluded space station. Does that sound familiar? You're running around shooting aliens. Does that sound familiar? And you're solving puzzles and then having to backtrack. I don't know if that sounds familiar, but Blowout is really like a Metroid game. So, and I think I got this one for $1 at a game store. So, yeah. Another game that I've played through like twice already. Another hidden gem. Very cheap. Samurai Jack, The Shadow of Aku. This is based off a cartoon. It's like a $10, $12 game. Very awesome beat 'em up platformer with some puzzle elements. A lot of stuff to collect if you want 100% it. So that's what I recommend collecting on the GameCube. Those type games. But if you want to go after Gotcha Force and, Fire Emblem and things like that and pay those prices, dude, totally do that. Okay, so the next question comes from Mr. Batman863 and the Bacon Gamer. Kind of asked the same question, so I kind of smashed them up. If you could only play one console for the rest of your life, what would it be? Wow, okay. So here's my dilemma. I love the N64, I really do, and I would totally pick the N64, but it has one of the smaller console libraries at about 300 games, and a lot of those games are, hate to say it, sports games and like broken racing games. But the good games on the N64 are really, really good. Mario's, Ocarina of Times, Conker's, all that stuff. So I'm thinking I'm going to go with a console that has a bigger library. Because remember, you can only play that console in the library for the rest of your life. So it was a toss-up between the original NES and the Super Nintendo. I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to give the nod to the Super Nintendo. I don't know. Which console would you play for the rest of your life? Side note, I might consider picking a console that I've never even played before, because all the games would be a new experience. Like, I've never really played TurboGrafx, so I should have said Turbo. I'm staying with Super Nintendo. Brand loyalty. All right. DanesCollection has a cool channel. Asked sort of a similar question, but sort of rephrased it a different way. He said, if you could only play one console and one game for the rest of your life, which would it be? Guys, I'm going right back to the Super Nintendo. And we're playing Super Mario World. That would be the game. Why is the lighting all bad? Hold on. Better. And we're playing Super Mario World. So I'm going to say Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. If I could only play one console, one game for the rest of my life. I love that game. It's, instant nostalgia for me. And, I don't know. That's what I picked. All right. So Chris Perez asks, where do you normally get your games and your consoles? Man, I do a lot of thrift stores, a lot of yard sales. I hit up a lot of retail stores, like half-price books, to see if I can catch them slipping, or if they just have something that's so uncommon, or that I have to have it. But typically, I do a lot of thrift stores and a lot of yard sales. Love yard sale season. But I do trade sometimes. I don't really have a network of friends close to me that all collect and trade and things like that are accessible. I got a friend at work that, has a very small collection, so sometimes we'll trade or buy from him. But yeah, man, mostly it's garage sales and thrift stores. All right, so next question comes from the MileHighGamers out in the Colorado area. Because, Mile High Stadium. I don't know. They could be from Alaska. Hell, I don't know. They ask, have you ever thrown a controller while playing a game? I don't know. Let me think. God damn it, this isn't working! I hate that controller! No, I don't believe I ever have. Alright guys, Video Game Lover 58 asks, what is your favorite Sega Genesis game? Now admittedly, I did not grow up with the Genesis as a kid, and I'm discovering the awesomeness of the Genesis. I don't have a huge Genesis collection, but these are some games that I picked out that I really enjoy playing on the Genesis. The first one is Rocket Knight Adventures. Cool platformer. I love the art style. And a game that I play, my son and I play it. We're not very good at it, but Sunset Riders, which is kind of cool. I think I got that at Maxine's Bargain Box for like $20 back in the day. So there's a variety of shoot 'em ups that I have for the Genesis, but I really haven't played yet, like Soul Deese up there, and Battle Squadron Thunder Force 2 or something. I really haven't played those yet, but I'm sure I'll like those, and maybe next time in the question and answer when this question comes up, those games will also be included. I will say this, I picked this up a while back, the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection for the 360, and this has really been like a godsend. I think this was like $10 or something, I don't really remember. But there's 40-something Genesis games on there. I've already played through Beyond Oasis twice. I love that game. I would probably buy that complete in box, but some of these other games on here I could probably just get away with having this compilation disc, like Shinobi. All the Fatal Furies are on there. All the Fantasy Stars are on there and stuff like that. So that's really what I play for the Genesis. I don't know if I have a favorite. I would say right now, because it's fresh in my head, it's definitely Beyond Oasis. That game is so much fun, and if you don't know anything about it, check it out. So, moving along. Nick Berry from across the pond asks, what are the top 5 games that you want to get for your Sega Saturn? As you can see, I have a very small Sega Saturn collection right there. I wouldn't say I have any high quality titles. I got like Tomb Raider, which is cool. I got Clockwork Knight 2, which is probably my best game on there. Last Gladiators Pinball. If you don't have Last Gladiators Pinball, definitely get that because it's kind of cheap. And it's awesome. It's got like 5 different pinball tables on there. Okay, so the top 5 games that I want to get for my Sega Saturn, first and foremost, are really any games that I don't have, minus the sports games. You know, I've got NBA 95 for 4 different consoles. You know what I mean? Like I don't really need it for Sega Saturn. But if I had my pick, if I could go into a convention and just buy these games, I would totally buy these: Galactic Attack, Guardian Heroes, Shinobi, The Legend of Oasis, which is the sequel to Beyond Oasis for the Genesis, and obviously the Panzer Dragoon games. Now Saga is I guess more like an RPG type. I really like the third-person on-rail shooter, so I would probably just get Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon 2, which is German for 2. You learned something. See? It's an educational video. This is edutainment right here. Alright guys, moving right along. GamerEmporium and Clayton Muesinman asked, how do you support your game hobby or your game habit? Because that's kind of what it is. Like a lot of people, man, I am not independently wealthy. I got kids, bills to pay, stuff like that. So I can't really go out and drop a ton of money on games. But what I've done is over time, I've just bought and sold games, traded up so I could sell something. And really nowadays, and I think most of you guys will agree, that if you are going to fund your video game collection, most of us have like a little video game fund and we buy and sell, and we try not to let that fund run out and dip into the checking and the savings account. But if you're going to be successful now, you need to, you need to be able to branch out and find other things to sell other than video games. So like you guys see on my channel all the time, we pick up calculators to sell. We pick up toys, Legos, Transformers, anything that I can really flip, like board games or something I can flip and that generates funds for the game collection, then that's what I do. I personally am weak in the eBay area. I need to get a lot better with eBay. So maybe sometime this year I'll make that jump from Craigslist to eBay. There's just a lot of fear with eBay, I guess, with you sending somebody something, they damage your shit, and then you have to refund them, and then they send you back damaged shit, or they say they didn't get it, so now you got to refund them, and you're refunding them, and they keep the item, and it's like, I just don't want to deal with that shadiness, I guess, or I'm a little hesitant to make that jump. But you really do maximize your profits on eBay. I do Craigslist. I sell on Craigslist. The good thing is that it's instant cash in hand. The bad part is that you have to be willing to be a little bit more flexible on Craigslist if you want to sell stuff. So people expect to be able to negotiate. So you're not going to maximize your profits as well. And also people are flaky. They'll say, hey, I want this Super Nintendo. Do you want to meet up? And then they never meet up, or they're like, oh, I pass. I found one in my brother's basement, or some lame excuse. So there's a lot of like missed opportunities, I guess, where people are just kind of flaky. Kind of rambling on this question, but that's what I do, man. I buy and sell other games, toys, anything I can get my hands on that I think I can sell. One time I bought a box of stuff, had a few games in there and like some old video cassette tapes, and I had like a little glass collector's plate, and I think I paid like $2 for this box. I threw that thing up on Craigslist for like $8, and somebody bought it. So really anything I can get my hands on to sell, so I can fund the video game collection, that's what I do. Alright, that was the long answer to that question. Retro Phaeax asks, I never know how to pronounce that. Phaeax. Underrated profession. Wow, what are some underrated professions? The first one that comes to mind is teachers. Teachers have a very underrated profession. I don't want to put up with my kids at any point of the day, and they're required by law to put up with my kids, for an entire school day. So God bless them. Teachers gets a lot of attention, I guess, for being an underrated profession. But I would also say anybody that's in the trades, you know, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, metal workers. You know, the guy that I have to call at 3 o'clock in the morning because my water heater broke. You know, and I'm an idiot and I don't know how to fix it. So those guys and girls definitely underrated. I would say, I only say this because I work at a college campus and we have a hospitality management program. So anybody that works in the food service industry, definitely underrated. There's no way I'm going to stand in a hot-ass kitchen or deal with some dickhead customer telling me that, you know, they wanted salad dressing on the side and you put it, like, forget that. I'm not dealing with that. So you guys that work in the food service industry, the hospitality management industry, customer service is a tough job. But yeah, thank you for your service. That is an underrated profession. I don't know, you know, police and fire, those guys, military guys, all we know that those are sort of underrated, and God bless you guys for doing that. My dad drove a truck for 30 years. Truck drivers, underrated profession. That's how goods and I don't know if you guys know this, but that's how goods and services get to your little podunk town or your major cities, right? They just don't magically snap their fingers and stuff is on the shelf. So, yeah, good question. And I'm interested, what do you guys think are some underrated professions? Thomas Torre asked, love Thomas Torre, just had a 200 subscriber contest recently, so congratulations to you, dude. He asks, what video game universe would you like to live in? Now, no joke, dude, I have been thinking about this for about a month because it's like, oh yeah, I'd love to live in the Mushroom Kingdom in Hyrule. That would be cool. And it would be. But it's just a little too chaotic and violent for me, right? Like, be awesome to live in Castlevania and kick Dracula's ass every day. But eventually, you're going to get hit in the chest and you're going to fly back 30 feet, right? Into a water pit and you're going to die. So I'm going to pick a safe answer for this. I would like to live in the Harvest Moon universe. You know, where I could get married, grow my own food, you know, hang out all day, talk to animals and people and dig up rocks. It's a nice, safe universe to live in. All right, guys, changing the angle a little bit. Dege13 asks, what is the worst console in your collection and why do you still own it? And then what console would you like to have? So the first part of that question, the worst console in my collection, I would have to say is this monstrosity right here. This is the Intellivision Model 1. I guess it's not bad. I just didn't grow up with it. I have no nostalgia for it. It's a beast. I mean, it's super huge. Takes up a lot of room. You know, again, worst is kind of harsh because I love all this stuff, but you can see my very small Intellivision collection right there. It never gets played. I just got so many other games in my backlog that I want to play that I never give this thing the time of day. I mean, it does work, which is nice. Second part, that why do you still own it? Because I'm a hoarder, bro, and I don't really want to get rid of anything. I always have these pipe dreams that, you know, one day I'll get to that game or one day I'll find that in the wild. And it's sort of the same thing here. One day I'll bust this thing out and I'll play with it, and we'll try out all the games and stuff like that. But just right now, it kind of just takes up too much room. All right, so to answer the second part of your question, what console do you want to own? I guess if I had, you know, one video game wish and I could own one console with all the games, which would it be? It would be a toss-up. It really would. I would love to have a complete Sega Saturn collection. And when I say complete, I mean North American, PAL, and Japan collection, because I've got an Action Replay, so you know, I can play whatever game I want to play. Or TurboGrafx, Turbo CD, Turbo Duo, whatever you want to call it. I'd like to have all the TurboGrafx and TurboGrafx CD games, just because they're so, you know, they're so expensive and it just is unattainable, right? It's like one of those things where unless you've got money to put into it, you know, and you're watching eBay lots and you're, you know, in constant contact with Craigslist and your local game store people to actually get these games, Sega Saturn and TurboGrafx stuff, we'll just call it TurboGrafx stuff, seems to be like the hardest to get a hold of. And they're really awesome consoles, and I'd really like to own full sets of all of those. Now, I guess I kind of cheated your question. What console do I want to own? I already own a Sega Saturn thanks to Power Player Paul. So then, to answer your question, would be a TurboGrafx 16 with a complete TurboGrafx library. All right, guys. So getting down to the last two questions here. Joe T asks, while you were stationed overseas, what was your favorite game that you played? When I was stationed overseas in Japan, this was 1998, 1999, and a little bit of 2000. When I got over there, the PlayStation was huge, so I bought a PlayStation, and personally, I played a lot of this game right here. I love it. Love the entire series. I even love the PlayStation 2 games. Siphon Filter. This is a really awesome third-person shooter type game. So if you're not familiar with Siphon, and it's cheap, man. If you're not familiar with Siphon Filter, check it out. I recommend Siphon Filter 1 and Dark Mirror for the PlayStation 2, along with Logan Shadow. I guess those are pretty cool for the PlayStation 2. But PlayStation 1 came out. You got to remember this. I mean, it was amazing when we saw it. And back in those days, we're like, man, I don't know if it's going to get any better than this. This is crazy, But we played a lot of that. And then when we would play, like, competitions, in between us, we'd play a lot of, like, triple play baseball. Love triple play baseball. Obviously, Madden and NFL Game Day was super huge. So we played a lot of that. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think, we played, like, Metal Gear. Played Metal Gear. That was a big one. Sit in the dark, drink beer, and play Metal Gear. Because Metal Gear's awesome. So, yeah, and then I got to Yuma, Arizona. I was stationed in Yuma for the last year and a half or so of my my military service. And while I was there, obviously we had this new console called the PlayStation 2, and it was absolutely amazing. And again, we would play college or NFL Game Day. That was sort of our game of choice, and we absolutely loved it. So I also got, I don't know if you guys remember this, maybe some of you PC guys will remember this. Gateway, you could call them, basically build a computer over the phone, and then they would send it to you. So when I was stationed in Yuma, I had Gateway send me the Moo Cow boxes. If you guys remember that, these giant boxes with, cow pattern on them. And started getting to PC gaming a little bit more. Game I really enjoyed the hell out of, man, is The Seventh Guest. And if you're not familiar with that, it's sort of like a puzzle type game. There's a bunch of different puzzles, and like you solve the puzzle and you unlock a little bit more of the story, or you unlock access to another room which has 3 or 4 puzzles in it which you got to solve to get clues, kind of that kind of thing. Back in the day, if you wanted to play games with your friends, you had to like hook up this little cable to the back of your computer and then run it all the way down the squad bay or the barracks to your buddy's computer, and it was known as a LAN party. We would have these giant LAN parties, and up in the barracks, usually on a non-payday weekend because we were all flat broke, and everybody in my barracks at least had a copy of this game, and we played the hell out of it. Unreal Tournament, and again, that's for the PC. Pretty awesome. Now, after we stopped playing Unreal Tournament in the barracks, I really fell off of the Unreal Tournament train. I really haven't played any of the other games in the series, but I'm sure I'm missing a few. Those are the games that we played when I was in the military, so I hope that answers your question. Okay, guys, let's wrap this up. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, watching this video, and if you have any other answers to any of these questions, I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments section down below. So let's get to the last question. Comes from Anthony Howard, and he asks, which games do you treasure the most? So when I thought about that, that's kind of an interesting question, right? Like, I've met some really cool people on YouTube, and you guys have sent me stuff, and we've traded and all that stuff. So I'm gonna like put those on the back burner. That's sort of a different category. I'm I'm just going to keep the answer to this question about me and kind of what I've found in the wild or great deals or something else. So the first one, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Mega Man series. This is a game that I probably wouldn't buy for myself otherwise because I have it on a collection. But I treasure this game because I found it at a pawn shop for $5. And it's Mega Man X2 for the Super Nintendo. No reason to keep that a secret there, right? Like, I'm going to show it to you anyway. But the reason why I treasure this game so much is that before I started doing YouTube videos and posting stuff online, I would go game hunting and stuff like that. This, I think, was like the last thing that I found that I didn't actually put on YouTube. This game was basically the breaking point. This is the game that I found for $5 at a pawn shop, like I said, that, you know, when I got home and started putting it away and, you know, cataloging it, I was like, you know what? I need to start shooting some video for this and putting it on YouTube and seeing if anybody will watch it. So I definitely treasure Mega Man X2. Because I got a good deal on it and it's a valuable game and I love Mega Man, I love the X series, so that makes it more palatable. But I treasure this game because that's the game that really got me started into YouTube. Because after that, I started shooting videos, and we're here now. Let's see. Last year, I picked up a bundle at a garage sale. It was a shoebox full of empty Nintendo boxes and manuals. I got it for $30, I think, with a console and a copy of Contra. Obviously, I sold the copy of Contra and the console, so all of these boxes and manuals ended up being free. So, again, games that I would never buy complete or fulfill them complete in box for myself, I was able to do that because of the garage sailing. So, the first one here is Darkwing Duck. Got that complete in the box, like I said. Now, I did find the cartridge at CorgsCon, not this past year, but the year before that, for like $25. So for $25, I was able to get a game that I really wanted to have, and now I got it complete. So I definitely treasure that game. And then the heavy hitter that was in that box. Again, I would probably never even buy this game because it's expensive, but because I had the box and the manual, and this one actually came with the poster. It's Battletoads Double Dragon. I threw caution to the wind. I said, hell with it. We're going to go buy Battletoads Double Dragon, the cartridge. And for $80, I bought the cartridge, and we've got that now complete in our collection, which is amazing because, like I said, I really wouldn't buy probably Battletoads Double Dragon if I didn't have the box and the manual. So I'm very thankful to have that. The number one most game that I treasure in my collection is this game right here. Plain old Super Mario Land. Nothing special about it. This isn't the limited edition version or anything like that. But sometimes some of your games have a history, have sort of a value more than what eBay tells you that the value is. I had this game when I was a kid. Obviously, my parents sold all of my video game stuff when I left for the military, which is sort of a natural part of life. You know, I'm not really angry at them or anything like that. But a few years ago, I started playing. I got the Game Boy player for the GameCube, and I started wanting to play my Game Boy games again. And, of course, I didn't have Super Mario Land. So on Father's Day, my 17-year-old, I think he was 15 at the time, might have been 2 years ago, we were out just sort of at like a walk-around indoor flea market swap meet thing. And he bought me this game, and it was like $9 or something. And he was like, here you go, Dad, happy Father's Day. And it really kind of touched me in my heart. So love that kid. So yeah, those are the games that I value the most. So like I said, guys, interested to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. Thank you for supporting the channel. Links to all the people that ask questions, links to all their channels will be in the description. So check a few of them out and like and subscribe to their channels if you like it. So guys, see you next time.